Hey everybody, good morning. I'm Amna Nawaz, live in New York. Thanks for being with us. The 89th Annual Academy Awards are upon us this morning. We're going to bring you all the nominations as we learn them live right here. I am joined by two people who know way more about this than I do, thank goodness. Walt Hickey from 538, Peter Travers. Thank you so much for being here. You woke up early for us.
Yeah, of course, because we've been up all night anyway.
Just waiting.
Anticipation and...
Can I ask you, why do they do this so early every year? Why
for
does
LA,
have to be
too.
a thing?
Like, it's
like
early on the East Coast.
5:15 LA, 8:15 here or so. Why?
You know why?
Why?
As President Trump would say, it's the irritating media. We basically need in the media to get this information out right away.
Right, we can't wait.
Mm-hmm. It's going to dominate the conversation all day. It's huge. I mean, we've been waiting for this for months at this point. This is
the big one.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take a look at some of the categories that I know you guys are most excited about, right? Peter, what's the one you have your eye on for nominations this morning?
Well, I have my eye on all of the La La Land nominations because I really like that movie, but it could actually become a movie that gets nominated for 14 Oscars. And if it does, it will then be tied with Titanic and All About Eve, the only movies in the history of this 2,000-year-old I'm kidding. I don't know how old it is, but I think it's under 100. Anyway, that will just break records, and I'm all about that. I just love record-breaking things.
You love that. We're going to wait to see if that happens. What about you, Walt?
I'm looking at Best Actress. It's going to be huge this year. It kind of looked like it was already getting set up to be a duel between Emma Stone and Natalie Portman, right? But then Isabelle Huppert comes in at the Golden Globes, wins it, and it just kind of changes the conversation quite a bit. So really interested in who this final five is going to be. Really interested in seeing if Meryl Streep is going to be able to get her 20th. It's a very, very cool category this time around.
Okay, so what else are we keeping an eye on? Now, everyone talks about lead actor, lead actress, best picture. Are there any other categories?
Of course there are,
because
what did we
everyone
there
needs
are
to pay
approximately
attention
22
to?
other categories.
What did we go through last year about Oscars So White?
Let's talk about this.
We just went through everybody saying what's going on with these people.
Yep.
So they can't do that this time. And they especially can't do it because if they did it, it would be really something to get enraged about.
Do you think that they're thinking about that, though?
No, I don't. I think they are thinking. The voters are saying, uh-oh, which African-American? I better think about this now. So it's in their heads. And so who will that benefit? Only the big stars like Denzel Washington or Viola Davis? Or what does it do to the Mahershala Ali's or the Naomi Harris's or the Ruth Negas? These people really were good.
Here's the thing I didn't know about sort of the back dealing that goes into nominations. Walt, you've done some reporting on this. Tell me about that, because everyone thinks it's a meritocracy.
Yeah.
No, he didn't have the best performance or the best picture. How do you actually get nominated?
It's a campaign in so many ways. It's the same way that you get elected to something. It's the same way you have 6,000 people in your category. If you're an actor, you have a little more than 1,000 people that you need to convince that your performance or your actors were worthy of a nomination. And you campaign the same way that anybody else campaigns. You can be Ryan Gosling and go meet individual people and say, "Hi, I'm Ryan Gosling. I'd love your vote." You could buy out advertisements. That's my Ryan Gosling impression.
That was
the
good,
best I can do. Yeah, it's just normal, basic. So you can buy out advertisements in institutional press. And so what we did is we looked at Variety, The Hollywood Reporter. Yeah. We counted up every single inch of ad space that films had purchased over the course of the past 3 months, going back to mid-October. It was a big project. In the end, we found that Manchester by the Sea, which is backed by Amazon Studios, and Loving have bought a ton of advertisements in pursuit of getting nominations for their directors, their actors, for their films.
Wow.
So you can kind of see. We also have some stuff on the animation category, which is it's a very spend-heavy kind of race, generally speaking. But this year, you can see a lot of different films very much targeting that. Whereas you got a film like Moonlight, been on the conversation the whole time, barely spent a dime when it kind of came to that print advertising. So a lot of different motivations at play in this. A lot of folks trying to kind of either flood the zone, get into people's minds. It's a really interesting. Like the actual mechanics of this campaign have been quite interesting.
Well, they spend so much money on these for your consideration ads. So I think, does it have an effect on people? I can't really tell. There was a skit on Saturday Night Live this week that Aziz Ansari participated in, where he was as if he were in a Law and Order show, and because he said he didn't really love La La Land, he was interrogated, and then after that he said, "Look, I liked it. I just didn't think. I thought it dragged in the middle." And the cops are going, "What? How dare you say this?" But the other thing that was great about it, they said, "Well, what about Moonlight? And the cops go, oh, that's a profound, serious movie, but I didn't see it.
Right.
So they
like, I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't in a place I could handle it. Yeah, it's going to be a thing.
And that skit, I think, hit on something that's really going on there, that a lot of voters think they're going to vote for spinach, something that's good for them.
Yeah.
They're going to say, I'm going to give this a nomination even if I haven't seen it, which is crazy time. Yeah. We have to remember that the Academy is completely insane. It's basically all about its own image.
There is one takeaway, America. Peter Travers has told you, the Academy is insane.
They are.
Okay?
I mean, the whole reason that we founded the Golden Globes was to make the Academy look sane, right?
That's right.
Come on.
And that's why everything comes out at the end of the year, because then they'll forget. If it comes out earlier than September, it has no chance.
We're talking about approximately 6,600 goldfish who have the memories of about 6 months.
But this is a wonderful conversation. I'm learning so much. But this is what it comes down to, especially for Best Picture, because the conversation is now something like Moonlight or Manchester by the Sea or La La Land.
That's right.
Like you're saying, it's either your spinach or your ice cream or whatever La La Land is.
Well, that's right. And, but you got to remember that La La Land is about the industry.
Yes.
And in terms of the Academy, they love anything that's about them. Even if they don't like it or they thought it dragged in the middle, like Aziz Ansari thought, it's still something that's about them, and they love it. They were able to give a Best Picture Oscar to The Artist, even though it had no dialogue at all, because it would have been in French if it was anyway. And they said, but it's about us.
Yeah.
And they love that.
Can we talk about silence?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it sort of got lost in the whole conversation.
So Silence is a fantastic film. It is almost 3 hours, right? So it's a bit of a schlep, but it's got incredible performances, right? It's got Liam Neeson in a fantastic supporting role.
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield totally owns that movie, and obviously it's Martin Scorsese, so it's just automatically in the conversation. However, it really got into a tough little like when it hit theaters last week. It was against 3 other movies, and so it just kind of collided and just kind of got lost.
Just a crowded field, do you think?
I think people didn't want to see a movie talk about spinach.
Yeah.
As great as it is, I think they wanted to say, I'm not going out for a night and getting babysitters to see this about Jesuits trying to convert the Japanese.
Yeah.
You want to meet the Pope? That's how you meet the Pope.
That's how you do it, yeah.
So that's the movie you can stream when it's available at home, right? Silence.
But you shouldn't.
You shouldn't.
Because it looks beautiful on the big screen.
Well, we're going to see. Okay. Silence may get some nods. We're going to take a look and see if La La Land can break some records. Keep an eye on Meryl Streep, too. See if she can make history as well. I think we're coming up on the nominations any second now. Stick with us on the back end. We're going to be back here with some analysis on the nominations. Let's go to them now.
Legal high.
I guess I just flipped out over it.
It's kind of like when a piñata breaks open and everything comes spilling out.
People are like, I'm so humbled by this moment. Like, no, I feel like the greatest.
Completely shocking.
Really proud.
You don't get moments like that every day. That was a moment in time, for sure.
The Academy Awards you think you know, that's not how it's always been. In 1929, there were no nominations, and the winners were announced in advance. So today we're going to change things up again, and we're going to invite past Oscar nominees and winners to help welcome this new class and to actually walk them through the next 33 days.
For that year, I was part of that small selected group of the brightest stars, and I was able to bring my mother to the Oscars, who always wanted to be an actress, and she got to sit right next to me and be so proud of me walking on that stage. The nominees for supporting actor are
Mahershala Ali in Moonlight, Jeff Bridges in Hell or High Water, Lucas Hedges in Manchester by the Sea, Dev Patel in Lion, and Michael Shannon in Nocturnal Animals.
The nominees for cinematography are
Arrival, La La Land, Lion, Moonlight, and Silence.
The phone rang, and my lawyer was on the phone. I thought I'd done something wrong. He said you were nominated for an Oscar. But I was by myself in this hotel room. I didn't have anybody near me, any family. And before I had the chance to call my mom, my door rang, and the waitress came in, and I just burst into tears and said, I've just been nominated for an Oscar. And she put the tray down, and she said, give us a hug.
Documentary Feature, Fire at Sea, I Am Not Your Negro, Life Animated, OJ, Made in America, and 13th. Best Documentary Short Subject, Extremis, 4.1 Miles, Joe's Violin, Watani, My Homeland, and The White Helmets.
We are fortunate. And of course, you should have fun with all of this. But a day after, the very next day after the Oscars, the focus should be back to making films. Good films. The nominees for foreign language film are
Land of Mine from Denmark, A Man Called Uva from Sweden, The Salesman from Iran, Tana from Australia, Tony Erdmann from Germany.
The nominees for live action short are
Un Amis Antérieurs, La Femme et le TGV, Silent Nights, Sing, and Time Code.
When I heard my name, I think I just about passed out. And then when I heard Lenny Abrahamson's name, the director of Room, that's when I really lost my mind. It was just the best moment of my life. The nominees for lead actor are
Casey Affleck in Manchester by the Sea, Andrew Garfield in Hacksaw Ridge, Ryan Gosling in La La Land, Viggo Mortensen in Captain Fantastic, and Denzel Washington in Fences.
The nominees for sound editing are
Arrival, Deepwater Horizon, Hacksaw Ridge, La La Land, and Sully.
The nominees for sound mixing are
Arrival, Hacksaw Ridge, La La Land, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, and 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi.
It was very early in the morning, and the first thing I did was wake up my wife. I think immediately call someone that is going to take you down a few notches. That's why I woke up my wife. The nominees for production design are
Arrival, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Hail Caesar, La La Land, and Passengers.
The nominees for visual effects are
Deepwater Horizon, Doctor Strange, The Jungle Book, Kubo and the Two Strings, and Rogue One, A Star Wars Story.
We were making The Big Chill, and I heard it, and as they'd say in England, I was gobsmacked out of the blue. I had no clue. I had no expectation.
Costume design, Allied, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Florence Foster Jenkins, Jackie, and La La Land. Makeup and hairstyling, A Man Called Uva, Star Trek Beyond, and Suicide Squad.
A score or music in a film, that is like to me the most impactful and powerful music. Let's not forget about Jaws with that dun, 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 dun. Like that type of power that it exudes to drive your every emotion through the film, and you don't even know that's what's driving your emotion. That is powerful. The nominees for original score are
Jackie, Mika Levy, La La Land, Justin Hurwitz, Lion, Dustin O'Halloran and Hauschka, Moonlight, Nicholas Britell, and Passengers, Thomas Newman.
The nominees for original song are
Audition, The Fools Who Dream from La La Land, Can't Stop the Feeling from Trolls. City of Stars from La La Land. The Empty Chair from Jim, the James Foley Story. How Far I'll Go from Moana. Stay tuned for part 2 of the announcements, returning shortly. We're proud to present the world premiere of this year's Oscars trailer.
People like to believe in fairy tales.
You are free to run into the hellfire of battle without a single weapon to protect yourself.
Now that's a proper introduction.
Yeah, we're all about a good time. Yeah, we're all about a good life. Good energy, come follow me. Always gonna be a good night. Woo, feel so alive.
This is the dream. It's conflict, it's compromise, it's very, very exciting.
Yeah, we're all about a good time. Yeah, we're all about a good life.
And the Oscar goes to...
Thank you so very much.
All right, there was a lot there. We're going to jump right in. Guys, lead actor. You want to start there? Yes?
No Tom Hanks this year.
No Tom Hanks. You know what? I have to say, that's too bad.
Really?
Because that guy's the most underrated. He hasn't been nominated since Castaway.
He's an up-and-comer.
Which was 1 billion years ago. And the fact is that that kind of performance where he's playing a hero, but he shows the humanity of the hero, to me is just that kind of thing that we just expect him to be great, but they never nominate him.
You're talking about his performance in Sully, right?
In Sully. It's just, I think, was a really underrated movie. Did well at the box office, but people kept saying, well, of course he'd be good in it.
Yeah.
Well, no, he was really good in it.
Okay, well, here's what we know in lead actor Casey Affleck from Manchester by the Sea.
Shocking.
Shocking?
Yeah, of course not.
Sarcasm. Andrew Garfield in Hacksaw Ridge. Do we expect that?
Yeah, he's had a good year.
Okay, Viggo Mortensen in Captain Fantastic.
That's the surprising one.
Yeah? Why?
Again, so he, according to the odds, was kind of below Tom Hanks. He was below Joel Edgerton from the film Loving. So he was the one who kind of got in. All right, there was a kind of field of folks who had the chance to get in, and it looks like his efforts paid off.
Denzel Washington in Fences.
Fantastic.
You have the best line ever about Denzel Washington, by the way, in his career, comparing him to Tom Hanks.
Yeah, exactly. He's Tom Hanks if Tom Hanks takes risks.
Someone had floated Ryan Reynolds' name. Is that unfair?
Well, I think it was us. We were talking about it. It could have been us.
I thought it was someone.
We were talking about Golden Globes where they had a category for him.
Are we going to hear Deadpool at all in the Oscars?
That's going to be very interesting to find
He missed a lot of the categories that he potentially, like visual effects, things like that. So we'll see when it comes to that. But Best Actor, what do you make of, Best Supporting Actor, what do you make of that category? No Aaron Taylor Johnson this time.
But I never understood why Aaron Taylor Johnson was nominated. Michael
Shannon was for the same movie, right?
He won a Golden Globe for it, and it just made me go, huh?
Really?
Did you watch Michael Shannon in this movie? Because he's really so good in it, and he got nominated.
I love that that's your reaction. You're sitting at home watching, going, huh?
What? Yeah.
Mahershala Ali.
Yes.
For Moonlight, yes. A lot of people thought he would be favored for the Globes, too, right?
They did. And then it was Aaron Taylor Johnson. But now sanity has come back into the world, and Mahershala Ali is in there.
It turns out that you can send Tom Ford perfume to 86 members of the Hollywood Foreign Press, but you can't send it to 6,000 members of the Academy.
You can't do
Jeff Bridges in Hell or High Water.
Very good performance. I don't think he was the best supporting actor in that film, but, you know, that's been talked about for quite a while this cycle.
Dev Patel. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No,
Jeff Bridges?
He's just trying to start trouble.
Walt is or Jeff Bridges is?
No, Jeff Bridges doesn't start trouble. Walt does all the trouble.
Dev Patel in Lion. Also, this little bit of controversy is he really a supporting actor?
Well, he is. He's not in the movie for an hour.
I know, but he is the lion.
But that kid who doesn't get nominated because he was the kid that they found somewhere, Sonny Power, his name is, he was great.
He was great.
He was great. And so I think Dev Patel was saying, look, I mean, I only came in at the end.
Two songs from La La Land and Best Original Song. That's exciting.
There should have been 3, but there was something called The Empty Chair that I never heard of. And it looked to me like La La Land was nominated for everything but Best Documentary.
Okay. Yep, that's probably accurate.
I kept
we'll
hearing
get an
the
actual
name.
tally
Right,
as soon
okay,
as we have it. Lucas Hedges, by the way, from Manchester by the Sea
great,
as well,
yeah.
and supporting actress. And how great was it to hear the word trolls at the Academy Award nominations?
Didn't exactly see that one coming.
No? Hey, we've got a whole another slate of nominations coming up. Stay with us. We're going to be back here with Peter and Walt's take. Let's go now to the rest of the Academy Award nominations.
My big piece of advice when you're nominated is not to pop the champagne right away, because that's going to continue for a long time. In this case, maybe 33 days. And you got a big job ahead of you. You might have to give a speech in front of millions and millions of people, and you don't want to screw it up. The nominees for original screenplay are
Hell or High Water, Taylor Sheridan. La La Land, Damien Chazelle. The Lobster, Yorgos Lanthimos, Efthimos Filippo. Manchester by the Sea, Kenneth Lonergan. And 20th Century Women, Mike Mills.
And the nominees for adapted screenplay are
Arrival, Eric Heiserer. Fences, August Wilson. Hidden Figures, Alison Schroeder and Theodore Melfi. Lion, Luke Davies. And Moonlight, Barry Jenkins and Terrell Alvin McCraney.
So the first time that I really truly ever experienced the Academy and the Oscars was when I was there, nominated for an Oscar. And I haven't stopped watching it since. The nominees for animated feature are
Kubo and the Two Strings, Moana, My Life as a Zucchini, The Red Turtle, and Zootopia.
The nominees for animated short are
Blind Vaisha, Borrowed Time, Pear Cider and Cigarettes, Pearl, and Piper.
I got to meet Lee Daniels, the director, and he just gave me the role after about 30 to 45 minutes of talking. And so I don't know how other people get nominated for Oscars, but for me it was hella easy. Here are some more of this year's nominations.
Actress in a supporting role, Viola Davis in Fences, Naomi Harris in Moonlight, Nicole Kidman in Lion, Octavia Spencer in Hidden Figures, and Michelle Williams in Manchester by the Sea. Film editing, Arrival, Hacksaw Ridge, Hell or High Water, La La Land, and Moonlight.
My phone rang. It was my father. And we both just started crying, and neither of us could finish the sentence. It was one of the greatest moments of my life. And it was 2 years later that we actually got nominated together for Up in the Air. And the nominees for lead actress are
Isabelle Huppert in Elle, Ruth Negga in Loving, Natalie Portman in Jackie, Emma Stone in La La Land, and Meryl Streep in Florence Foster Jenkins. Directing, Arrival, Denis Villeneuve, Hacksaw Ridge, Mel Gibson, La La Land, Damien Chazelle, Manchester by the Sea, Kenneth Lonergan, and Moonlight, Barry Jenkins.
To our global community of filmmakers and fans, and to everyone who is inspired by movies and loves them as much as we do, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
I'm thrilled to be here with Cheryl to welcome the nominees for the 89th Academy Awards. And I'm especially honored to help announce this year's nominees for Best Picture.
Arrival,
Fences,
Hacksaw Ridge,
Hell or High Water,
Hidden Figures,
La La Land,
Lion,
Manchester by the Sea.
Moonlight. Congratulations to all the extraordinary artists and filmmakers nominated today. It's going to be a great show.
Huge congratulations.
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 The idea of you being an Oscar nominee is actually now part of your name to the day you die.
Embrace this moment because just being nominated alone makes you a winner.
Make a speech anyway, because there's nothing more boring than an unprepared actor.
I want to congratulate all the nominees, and I advise them to wear comfortable shoes to the ceremony.
Get sleep when you can, sneak into the Oscars with a flask, and have a good time.
There you have it. The nominees for the 89th Annual Academy Awards. Let's start with Best Picture. That's the one we were all keeping an eye on. 9 nominees.
Nine, that's a lot. And they still didn't have room for Deadpool.
That's right.
So the thing is, despite all of us saying, you know why they stopped having 5 and made it more, it could be 10?
Why?
Was because they thought that year that they left out The Dark Knight, and if the people had more chance, they would have picked it. They just don't like these comic book movies. They hate them. Plus, I have to say this before I turn it over to you, record master of all time. Mel Gibson has been forgiven.
Yeah. Wow.
If ever there was a message, right?
Oh, boy.
I heard you guys both gasp a couple of times when Hacksaw Ridge came up.
Yeah. Well, it's an incredible film. Don't get me wrong.
It's a great film, but you weren't expecting him to be nominated.
It was a bit out, it's not exactly expected. It's, again, a long time coming as far as this kind of journey back into the mainstream goes, and there's nothing quite more mainstream than being nominated for Best Director, right? And so, that was a bit of a surprise, right? And again, there was a very competitive category in that. Again, Denzel Washington was not nominated for Fences. Ang Lee was not nominated for Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. Martin Scorsese not nominated for Silence. And all of those had better odds of a nomination than Mel Gibson. Okay, Mel Gibson, prior to this, was 100-to-1 odds of winning Best Director, and now he's in the mix.
So look at the folks who are in that category, though. Mel Gibson for Hacksaw Ridge, Damien Chazelle for La La Land, Barry Jenkins for Moonlight, Kenneth Lonergan for Manchester by the Sea, and Denis Villeneuve, right, for Arrival.
Yes. Garth Davis, who directed Lion, had been nominated by the Directors Guild, so people thought that would be what would get in there. But Mel Gibson got in there instead, you know? And that is it, because since they still hated on Nate Parker for doing Birth of a Nation at last year's Sundance Festival, he was the greatest thing on earth. And then the scandal came up about him in a rape case from 20 years ago, and that ended him. So he was not forgiven, but Mel was. And of course, I have to bring up Meryl Streep, because now this is her 2000th nomination.
Is it? That's accurate? It's rounded up to the nearest 2000, right?
What happened? What happened to Amy Adams and Annette Bening?
Well,
Well,
I don't know. You tell me.
Arrival is nominated for everything. I kept hearing it. The director. And she's kind of made it. She was the heart and soul of the movie.
Jeremy Renner's great, don't get me wrong, but when you went to that film, you came out saying, Amy Adams is very good in this film. And her not getting nominated, Meryl Streep getting nominated. Again, Meryl Streep took that 5th chair, so to speak. And so that's, again, that category is extremely interesting this year. You've got Isabelle Huppert, who it seems to has quite a bit of buzz now, especially after her Golden Globe
She
win.
wins. I'm coming out saying it.
Right now?
Yes.
Really?
Because now that she's there, the Academy full membership of 6,320. I made that up, but it is 6,000 and
You're
some.
not great with the numbers today, Peter.
I'm really not
close,
great.
honestly, though. It's like
close. They will just vote for Isabelle Huppert because they know everybody thinks she's great. They don't need to see it.
Wow. Okay, so is she a bit of a surprise, though, for lead actress?
If you asked me 2 months ago, I'd say most definitely, right?
Yeah.
But as for right now, after winning the Globe, I think that it made a bit of sense that she got into this category. She's going into today was 4-to-1 odds to win it all, and I think that number only goes up.
Meryl Streep gets her 20th.
She is not a surprise to me.
20th, if I'm going to correct Peter's numbers here, Oscar nomination. Ruth Negga for Loving, Natalie Portman for Jackie, Emma Stone for La La Land. You like Isabelle Huppert. Who do you like?
I do like
actress.
Isabelle Huppert, too. Again, a bit of momentum behind her. We got to see how the Screen Actors Guild goes with this one, how the BAFTAs go with this one. I think Natalie Portman was very central to this conversation a few months ago and no longer is as close to the center as she has been. But yeah, again, I think it's an interesting year. I think that we thought it was going to be a duel, but I think it's going to be, again, Isabelle kind of running in and grabbing it.
So they could have thrown Amy Adams in there if they wanted to, right? I mean, they make the
Easily.
they can do up to 10 in each category.
Look at they could have nominated from Forrest Jenkins, Hugh Grant, or Simon Helberg. Nothing, you know. it was all to them. It was about Meryl because they see it and they go, yes, she's nominated. She's on my list. She's Meryl Streep.
Let's talk about the rest of the women. Supporting actress: Viola Davis in Fences, Naomi Harris for Moonlight, Octavia Spencer in Hidden Figures, Michelle Williams in Manchester by the Sea, and Nicole Kidman in Lion.
Not one surprise.
Not one. Did you have that whole category?
I had everybody in that category.
Bingo.
Who are you going to put in there? Who are you going to do?
Yeah.
You know?
Who do you like?
Oh, I think basically Michelle Williams gave a genuine supporting performance in that, and that Viola Davis in Fences is giving a lead performance, and she's nominated in support. So she'll win. That happens quite often.
Yeah.
What about you, Walt?
That's the perfect read on the situation.
Yeah.
Like, yep. That's what the odds makers are saying. That's what our odds are saying. Like that's what's going down.
And in terms of our Oscar So White story before, I think you have Mahershala Ali and Viola Davis going in as the favorites in their categories to do that. So they can rest a little easy. They also nominated August Wilson for his screenplay of Fences, and that's great for a guy who's been dead for 10 years. I think it's a show of respect, which they didn't show Denzel Washington for directing it as a tribute to August Wilson. In other words, he made the movie look like a play, and they didn't want that.
Animated feature.
Finding Dory was.
Where's Dory? I thought the whole point of the film was finding Dory. She's gone from
So
it.
this proves it doesn't matter how you do at the box office, right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe in the
Pixar got
animated
blanked.
category.
What's that?
Pixar got blanked this year. They did not get a film in there.
Who do we have? We've got Zootopia, Kubo and the Two Strings, Moana.
Which is fantastic. Kubo's my favorite movie of the year.
Really?
Yes.
Is it really?
Yes, it really is.
I had not known that.
Do you have a favorite in this category? The other two in that category are The Red
Zootopia
Turtle
because,
and My Life as a Zucchini.
Zootopia to me should have been nominated as Best Picture. I thought it was that good.
Yeah.
And yet, now that they have that category, they don't let it get out of the ghetto of animated. They don't let it
Toy Story 3 was the last time.
Oh, so great those movies are.
So
she's laughing. I thought they were great. Yes.
They're very good. Yeah, I'm with
you.
You.
Guys,
Yeah.
you make me laugh.
Yeah, okay.
Documentary feature.
Yeah, this is a fun one.
Yeah?
OJ Made in America, made by our ESPN colleagues here at the Walt Disney Company. That is in the mix. The 13th from Ava DuVernay. Fire at Sea, which, what have you heard about Fire at Sea? Anything?
No, I think it's between 13th and the OJ movie. I think the OJ movie is, of course, 2,000 hours long, just as many as Meryl Streep has. And it's actually a miniseries, and it shouldn't be there. But it's great for what it is. I would give it to the 13th.
There was some talk about Wiener potentially making into the category. You think that's a snub or no?
I think that our long national conversation has moved on from Anthony Weiner in the past few
And
months.
I'm happy.
Just when you think you've moved on, though.
I am hearing through sources I have through my brainwaves.
That sounds very mysterious.
That La La Land was nominated for 14 Oscars, which means it's with only two other movies, Titanic and All About Eve in 1950, that have that many nominations for a little movie that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And that's pretty amazing.
That is amazing.
I think, they love La La Land. They really love it. Sally Field can say that when she presents an award to them. They really love it.
Does it belong there, you think? In that,
what are you saying to me?
I'm just
when
asking.
You know my love
when I watch Law and Order SVU and I see in my neighborhood a vicious crime, I feel identity with Law and Order SVU. When Los Angeles-based members of the Academy see La La Land, they see themselves. And so, of course, it's going to win this year. It's a movie about actors. The actors are the biggest group in the thing.
Do you have major snubs out there, like someone you feel angry on their behalf because
Tom
they didn't
Hanks,
make it
I'm
in
angry
there?
about.
Yeah.
I'm angry about Martin Scorsese.
Silence got blanked.
Yeah, I just think, what is that? I think it got a cinematography nomination.
Silence did?
Yeah, I think that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
But to see Clint Eastwood, who also directed Sully, in that kind of professional way that they used to like, I think that, but the good thing is they're trying to show support for new names. They have new members in each of the guilds, and they're coming in and they'll nominate Denis Villeneuve for Arrival. They'll say something's going on with a guy like Damien Chazelle, who's 32 and doing La La Land. I think they're showing something. La La Land, of course, is the whitest movie of the entire season, and that would win it.
When we were watching again these come in, I talked about best adapted screenplay. Not one of those films is about a white man. All of them are about either a non-white male performer or Arrival, which is Amy Adams. So we're kind of seeing this trickle in some ways when it comes to what's getting produced, what's getting adapted, what's getting picked up, that kind of material.
But there were more actors and actresses, more diverse actors and actresses nominated at least.
And I was very pleased to see Ruth Negga not being forgotten for.
The bar was low.
The bar was low. But still, that could have been forgotten. It wasn't successful at the box office, yet that performance was just glowing. Everything she did in it was great. Yeah. That they left out Amy Adams and Annette Bening, I think that's a little shocking, especially since they nominated 20th Century Woman, Annette Bening's film, for screenplay thing. Again, heart and soul of the movie she's in. Not like, oh, I did a few scenes and they were great. No, 20th Century Woman's about Annette Bening's character.
And Ruth Negga's co-star, Joel Edgerton, was snubbed, right?
Totally
Should
snubbed.
he have been up there, you think?
Well, I mean, again, you can't have everybody in those categories, and you can understand maybe why that is. But the fact that they paid some attention to Ruth Negga is a good sign that they're paying attention to minorities in this Oscar world.
And like we were saying earlier, like if you look at who was advertising and you look at who was pushing their film and for your consideration advertisements in the institutional press, Loving was really going out there for it. Yeah. And I think this is the kind of film that understands that it's probably not in the lead for going to win too many things, but they really wanted to get nominations, and I think that Ruth Negga getting nominated is a pretty big win for that film as far as those things go.
In the end, though, it comes down to three movies. It's La La Land, it's Moonlight, and it's Manchester by the Sea.
Yeah.
And that those will be the dominant element in this. Moonlight, we could go back to the Saturday Night Live skit where they all know it's a good movie, but they're probably not watching it.
Okay, I'm going to get you guys on the record right now for Best Picture. How's this? You're going to make your predictions?
Sure.
Yeah? So the category again is La La Land, Manchester by the Sea, Moonlight, Arrival, Fences, Lion, Hell or High Water, Hacksaw Ridge, and Hidden Figures. They just kept listing every movie that was out there. What do you think? Peter Travers?
City of Stars.
Really?
No, of course it's going to win.
Yeah.
La La Land is going to win a lot of its categories, I think, except for the actors. I don't think Emma Stone or Ryan Gosling are going to win in their categories, which is odd because usually that happens. But it's very possible for one of them, and I think it would be Emma Stone, to roll in with a sweep.
Yeah, I'm of the same thinking. I think that it's going to be a film that doesn't win any acting categories. I think that, again, Damien Chazelle is at this point very much a shoo-in for Best Director, it appears, based on what we've kind of seen so far. And I think that it's kind of the film that when you look at who's resonating with, who votes on this kind of material, what the odds are looking like so far, and just how it just ran the table at the Golden Globes. I think that at this point, calling anything besides that the favorite is just inaccurate.
Not just.
All right, then. I'm rooting for Lion, then. I'll just do something else.
Just to be contradictory.
Hell or High Water. It's perfect. It's a perfect movie.
There you go.
Any big surprises you guys are expecting in the ceremony? What do you think?
Ooh.
Anyone who could come out of the
Well,
back,
Kimmel's hosting. That's always fun.
What's that?
Kimmel's hosting. That's
so
always
there'll be
fun.
surprises in that.
Yeah, there'll be surprises in that.
Matt Damon will be snarky on stage. I'm calling that right now.
That's a good prediction.
Yeah. That's always a good thing. But I don't see. I think things went pretty much according to how people thought they would go.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's that big a shock. So there are always those few snubs. And I think the one that got most snubbed was Denzel Washington as a director. What he did was a labor of love to bring August Wilson to that movie. And there wasn't as much love for it as a film as I thought.
Yeah, I think Viggo Mortensen getting in the mix for Best Actor, that's good for him. Again, he was in the field for a bit. He wasn't by any means a lead for that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's been an interesting year. It'll be fun to watch. I'm looking forward to the race getting shaken up a little bit, maybe. But as far as it goes right now.
Oh, that's right, the shake-up. Like, what could happen that would just stun everybody? They usually do it in the supporting categories, right? They come up and you say, who? What happened? Like we had the Aaron Taylor Johnson reaction at the Golden Globes.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
You know?
Your moment, as I like to call it.
Yeah, it's that like, I don't know, but I have no idea what that would be.
I don't even know what it could be. It could be, I think, the SAG or BAFTAs going some peculiar way. Although, again, I think we've already had that. Isabelle Huppert being in the mix, and you say going to win it all.
That was your moment?
Yeah, that's like, wow.
I think it's a hall. Winter. No?
She will win the Oscar. I said here.
They announced these too early. They announced these way too early.
Peter Travers has now sung a song and done his French accent. I think that's a good point for us. Hey, well, take you, Peter Travers. Thank you so much for being here. Guys, thanks for joining us bright and early this morning. Don't forget the 89th Annual Academy Awards air on Sunday, February 26th, live from Hollywood right here on ABC, so join us then. Thanks so much for being with us. Stay here for all of your award season news. We'll be covering it as the weeks go on. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us.